Six Music.
Tonight from midnight, Don Letts. From 10, Guy Garvey. Right now, it's the Six Mix.
Greetings, welcome to the Six Mix. My name's Andrew Weatherall, and between now and 9:30 you'll be hearing some music from Davila 666, Cranzo Roses, Grimes, Black Roots, Chain and the Gang, not just Moondog but Moondog and his Honking Geese, Pokey Lafarge, Kurt Vile, The Oscillation. And between 9:30 and 10, as has become customary in this somewhat sporadic show that I produce, there'll be a disco mix featuring a world exclusive in the shape of a new Death in Vegas track and my remix of Cut Copy's Sun God. But first, and especially for Ravi and his tape recorder, it's Maestro Ilayaraja.
Thank you.
And when that kicked in, young Rowan, who does the paperwork here to make sure everybody gets paid, said, "Oh, Goldfrapp, yes, dear boy, but with slightly hairier nadgers, I would say." That's KXP and a track called 18 Hours of Love. And in their previous existence, they were known as the Opal, shall we say, Bastards, so we don't offend your delicate sensibilities. Before that, another excellent album on Finders Keepers called Sola Sola, Maestro Ilayaraja and the electronic pop sound of Collywood, 1977 to 1983, Maya Karma, and that hadn't even finished before Jonesy in Aberdeen sent me the legendary email here saying, "I'm making a dial and this is an Ace soundtrack." Thank you, sir. This is Moon Duo. From the album Mazes, That was 4 minutes 15 seconds of shimmering loveliness. That's the Moon Duo and a track called Scars. You're listening to Andrew Weatherall, Six Mix, and if you want to get in touch, just like Jonesy in Aberdeen and his dial, text 64046, where your text will be charged at your standard message rate. I'm sure you all know what that is. Or you can email sixmix@bbc.co.uk. This is The Oscillation. And news just in. Ha ha, I'm actually a girl. My dial will be ready tomorrow. It's an overnight recipe. Keep the tunes coming. Linos, a.k.a. Jonesy, in Aberdeen. Sorry, Jonesy, for being slightly presumptuous. That was The Oscillation from an excellent album called Veils on All Time Low. And after this little trail, we'll be back with Moondog and his honking geese.
6.
Music.
Mark Radcliffe and Stuart McConey.
It felt like coming home.
On BBC Radio 6 Music.
You know what it's like, first day in a new job. We weren't sure where our lockers were or everything like that. Sean Keaveney flushed Stuart's head down the toilet. John in Bridgend said school day terms, epic for good. Skillwell, the best. For something superlative, 10 bears. That's good. Really 10 bears.
Tom in Birmingham says things at my school are either tender or uber.
Radcliffe and McConey.
I got a rather tender grade A on that last exam, despite being predicted a C. I bet Miss feels a bit uber foolish now.
Weekday afternoons from 1.
This is Radcliffe McConey, Skillage in the Village on the airwaves.
BBC
6 Music.
Available on a 10-inch, courtesy of Honest John's Records. That's Moondog and his Honking Geese, and a track called Dog Trot. And next, especially for the lovely Chubb and the even lovelier Kate, in the picturesque village of Denton, and also for Matt in Hackney. I doubt if you're having chitlins with your pork belly, but enjoy anyway. It's Pokey Lafarge.
And the hills way down in Tennessee. You will find it in the book. It is known as geography. It's not famous for its ponies. It's not famous for its mining nor still. But you know there are chitlins cooking way down there in them Cheatham County hills. It's chili cooking time in Cheatham County. I'll be courting in them Cheatham County hills, and I'll pick my Cheatham County chitlin cooker, so that I can get my chitlin fill. Chitlin cooking, and all them chitlin cooks, they must master it by practice. Man, you know it ain't written down there in no book. Way down in Cheatham County, way down, way down, way down, way down in Tennessee. When it's chitlin cooking time in Cheatham County, that's exactly where I want to be. Cooking time in Cheatham County, I'll be courting them Cheatham County hills, and I'll pick my Cheatham County chitlin cooker, so that I can get my chitlin fill. For me, I think that chitlins might be the best. When I'm on my dying pillow, chillin' man upstairs, that be my very last request. When it's chitlin cooking time in Cheatham County, I'll be courting in them Cheatham County hills, and I'll pick my Cheatham County chitlin cooker, so that I can get my chitlin fill.
A 7-inch single on Jack White's Third Man Records. That's Pokey Lafarge and the South City 3 and Chitlin Cooking Time in Cheatham County. Back after the news with some Higamus Hogamus.
This is BBC Radio 6 Music.
Libya talks tomorrow at UN. M1 chaos set to run on for a while yet. And Stoke make history.
6 Music.
BBC News at 8:30. I'm Catherine Cracknell. The International Development Secretary Andrew Mitchell will travel to New York tomorrow for talks on Libya at the UN. There's increasing concern for civilians trapped in Misrata, which is being besieged by Colonel Gaddafi's forces. Another 6 civilians were reported to have been killed by rocket fire today. The PM's been insisting the split over possible changes to the voting system won't spell the end of the coalition. The Lib Dems, who are backing a change to the alternative vote system have accused the Conservatives of mudslinging in their campaign against it. The Foreign Office says a British man's been killed in the States. He was reportedly injured in a shooting in Miami yesterday. His family's been told. Parts of the M1 in North London may not reopen until later in the week. The road was damaged by a scrapyard fire under the carriageway on Friday. The government says there'll be a review into the siting of scrapyards under road and rail bridges. Our reporter Siobhan Ty is by the motorway and says although 2 lanes on the northbound carriageway are now open, it's a different story southbound.
All the carriageway, all 3 lanes are shut. The Highways Agency is trying its very best to get at least 1 lane reopened by tomorrow morning. Of course, by the time that everyone goes back to work or does the journeys that they need to do.
Adele's record-breaking stint at the top of the album charts is over. She's been knocked off the number 1 spot by Foo Fighters with their latest offering, Wasting Light. Adele takes the 2nd and 3rd places, though, with her albums 21 and 19. Football and the FA Cup final will be between Manchester City and Stoke, who completed a 5-0 demolition of Bolton this afternoon at Wembley. The Wanderers' disappointed manager is Owen Coyle.
We were architects of our own downfall. I mean, every goal, if you look at it, I mean, the first goal we had good possession, we're giving it away in a dangerous area, needlessly, and Matthew Errington has had a terrific finish, so all credit to him. But 1-0, you're still in the game and you have to keep believing what you're doing, and I felt that from that moment on, we underperformed.
In the Premier League, Arsenal were held to a 1-1 draw with Liverpool at the Emirates. Both goals were penalties scored in 8 minutes of injury time. That's 6 Music News. The next update's 9:30.
6 Music. BBC 6 Music.
I'm a race driver and I drive real fast. A race car driver and I drive real fast. I drive real fast, but I'm just not built to last. A fear-free rookie, I was top of the class. A fear-free rookie, I was top of the class. I got the best time trial on the day I came out last. Race driver, race car driver, race driver, race car driver. I'm top of my class, but I just can't seem to pass. Transfusion, transfusion. When I miss that corner, it calls my confusion. Slit that hairpin, it calls me delusions. I'm a race driver and I drive real fast. A race car driver and I drive real fast. I drive real fast, but I'm just not built to last. A fear-free rookie, I was top of the class. A fear-free rookie, I was top of the class. I got the best time trial on the day I came out last. Transfusion, transfusion. When I hit that lamppost, it calls my contusions. I need an absolution.
from what looks like a self-released CD. That's Higamus Hogamus. The album's called Atomized Part 2, and that track is called Transfusion. And before, some Mirror Mirror, as a few emails and texts came in. Great show, Moon Duo, followed by The Oscillation, loving it. Any chance you could mention Moon Duo will be at Corsica Studios in London on the 12th of May and have 2 other UK dates. Rumour has it there'll be quite a big support act to be added in the next few days. We're talking of Sonic Proportions, full stop, Boom. You see what you've done there? That would be Sonic Boom then, supporting. And also from Gary Space Raider. Hi Andy, loved the KXP track. Good to see the glam beat being kept alive. Well, it will be as long as I'm alive. In brackets, Goldfrapp my bottom. Thank you, Gary Space Raider. This is Mirror Mirror.
Can explain the key to this sweet mystery. There's just one rule. Don't be cruel. Don't be cruel. Don't be cruel. Don't be cruel.
Love is the law.
On Freakways Records, a 12-inch by Mirror Mirror, Love is the Law, the Stuart Moxham Laying Down the Law remix. I'm assuming that's the same Stuart Moxham that used to be in Young Marble Giants. And while that was playing, we got some more messages in. Where did they go? They're all quite culinary based. Yes, here we go. Every tune spot on so far. I cooked a dal yesterday. It was delish. I was quite proud of myself, but let's face it, dal is so yesterday. According to Brian in Ascot, you may disagree. Don't particularly want to know. Missed the start of the show, so didn't know who was on. 20 seconds in, I knew it was you. You must have a strong style. I'm cooking a Thai curry. You can sort me out with a soundtrack. I'll give that a go. It's just signed B. Okay, if you want to be like Brian and B, and get in touch, it's text 64046. Email 6mix@bbc.co.uk. You're listening to the 6 Mix with me, Andrew Weatherall, back after this trail with a bit of Chain and the Gang.
BBC 6 Music.
Monday to Thursday on 6. It all adds up.
It's Gideon Co with you here until midnight.
Every night, 2 concerts from the BBC archive, plus 4 featured sessions equals 6 music. Now, add 3 hours of the best old and new tracks.
The main thing I'm doing is putting together a 3-hour music programme, regardless of its age or availability. That goes for old records as well.
Which brings you to 9.
Join me from 9 o'clock, Monday through to Thursday night.
Gideon Co. We do the maths, you do the listening.
BBC 6 Music.
Shall we listen?
Why not? Who cares anymore? Why not? Who cares anymore? Why not? Who cares anymore? I ate on the bed, I slept on the floor, I left the key hanging in the door. Why not? Who cares anymore? I got in that car with people that I didn't even know. I disregarded the doctor's note. I took them all. I don't even know what they are. I took that joke just a little too far. Why not? Oh, why not? Why not? Who cares anymore? Woo! Without even saying goodbye, I walk past people I know without saying hi. I blew out the candle without making a wish. I ate my dinner out of the dog's dish.
I ate on the bed, I slept on the floor,
I left my key hanging in the door. Why not? Yeah, who cares anymore? What?
That's Chain and the Gang from an album on K Records. The album's called Music's Not For Everyone, and that one's called Why Not? And Ian Savonius used to be, as you probably know, in the Nation of Ulysses, a very fine band. 2 members of which I once took to an acid house in Bracknell. Amazing. 2 sharp-suited gentlemen in a sea of day-glow and smiley faces. And this next one, in the words of Tom Ravenscroft's old man, if you don't like this, I'm going to come round and break wind in your kitchen. From an album on Bristol Archive Records called The Bristol Reggae Explosion 1978 to 1983, that was Tribal Roots and Tribal War. And now, on the rather splendid Great Pop Supplement label, it's Eat Lights Becomes Lights. Not only is that a great track, it's also on square green vinyl, courtesy of the good people at a great pop supplement. That's Test Drive by Eat Light, Become Lights. And some more messages coming in. They're all of a slightly culinary bent. Hi Andy, well done for the selection so far. Does grilling halloumi qualify for a soundtrack? It does. I mean, in my opinion, it's quite a squeaky cheese, but it shouldn't detract from your listening pleasure. And listening to the show whilst making a kick-ass secret recipe tossed salad. Loving your selection so far. That's Sparky in southwest London. And also Brendan is enjoying the food references. He's just eaten English asparagus, English in capitals. Quite right too. Look out for that German asparagus, which I believe is called Spargel, is it not? With grated boiled eggs, prepared by my lovely wife Ree. Anyway, please play some Pete Molinari, since we love him. I love him too, and I might be working with him, but I've got none tonight, I'm afraid. But I have got Tropic of Cancer. You're listening to the Six Mix on Six Music with me, Andrew Weatherall. And that was, who was that? Yes, that was Tropic of Cancer, not to be confused with The Tropics of Cancer, a 10-inch on Downwards Records, and the track was called Be Brave. And lest ye forget, in 25 minutes, world premiere of a new Death in Vegas track, which is going to keep G from Manchester very happy. And Fat Dog, great show, perfect compliment to my spicy couscous. Don't break wind in my kitchen. I wouldn't dare, not after what happened last time, Fat Dog. This is Cranzo Roses. In our house, we call it Goth Step, but apparently it's called Witch House. That's Grimes from an album on Low Recordings called Halifaxa, and the track's called My Sister Says the Saddest Things. And before that, what could possibly be one of the blueprints for said goth witch house scene. It's from 1985. It's Band Burn Crematoire by Cranzo Roses, and you can find that on a rather excellent compilation called Label Noir Volume 1. And while that was playing, some more messages come in. Respect due, says Stanley and Stokey. Right back at you, Stanley. And Mark from Essex, who has got bread, biscuits and a turkey pie, potatoes on the boil. No, I didn't used to work for a West London funeral company. While we're staying on the gothic kind of vibe with funerals and witch house, here's the Queen herself. It's Susie Sue, and an album from 1995, which I must say, 1995, which I must say passed me by, produced by John Cale. This is a track called The Double Life.
A locked room, my secret chamber that no outsider views, for entry is forbidden, prohibited. Behind this door is my other self, not a picture in a frame, nor a fresh disguise, but my other self, the mobile, inert, and sanguine. My narcissus kisses exhale crimson breath and pimp ruby to the lip. I stand before myself, not Jekyll, nor Hyde, not sibling nor twin separated at birth. I stand before myself, unaccountable. I crossed the 7 seas, and when I woke, not knowing I knew I lived a double life. All I ever needed is twice removed. I spit my bile in an airless temple. In this vacuum, a vampire reversed. This one who breathes life into me. And even dull mirrors reflect the tarnished twosome. I stand before myself, not another man, not doppelganger, nor witness clone. I stand before myself, unrepentant. I dreamt of sin, and aftermath. I dreamt of centuries lay there, and when not knowing I knew I led the double life. I dreamt of sin and aftermath. I dreamt of centuries lay there. And when I woke, not knowing I knew I led the double life. All I ever needed is twice removed. This one who breathes life into me.
Die-hard Banshees fans will probably email in and say that I'm talking nonsense, but I think that was the last album that the Banshees did before splitting up. It's called The Rapture, produced by John Cale. And while that was playing, Jonas, my good friend Jonas, emailed in to say he was down the allotment and how myself and Jarvis and Mr. McConey were perfect allotment music. And he would love me to see his Marrows. That sounds delightful. If, like Jonas, you'd like to tell me about your Marrows or anything else, you've got sort of 10 minutes. Text 64046 or email 6mix@bbc.co.uk. Back after this little trail with some Davila 666.
6 Music.
BBC introducing Fresh on the Net.
You can hear music you just won't hear anywhere else.
Tom Robinson.
Online, unknown, very, very good. We know that the internet is awash with great music, but you don't know where to find it. We ask the listeners, what have you found? What's good? What's out there? And they tip us off, and we go and check it out.
BBC introducing Fresh on the Net with Tom Robinson.
2 hours of new music direct from the net.
Saturday night from midnight, Monday morning from 1 a.m. And listen again online right now.
bbc.co.uk/6music introducing.
Aren't you moving with me yet? Do you forget what you tried to remember? And you remember what you tried to forget?
Timber Tamba, and the track's called Woman. And before that, a track called Yo Seria Otro by Davila 666. And while they were playing, some more lovely messages. My boyfriend has just made me a very hot stir fry. I need some music to accompany head exploding. Well, that should do it, I would have thought. That's from Sally in Peckham. And Mark B in Edinburgh, who is... sounds like he's getting drunk on Stella and cutting things out. That could be a bit of a dreadful combination, Mark B. Splendid tunes as usual. Great selection for a Sunday evening. Particularly enjoyed the Bristol reggae. Not enough UK stuff played on the radio. Quite right. Yes, your good self and 2 big bottles of Stella are making staring at the screen, cutting out shoes in Photoshop completely bearable. Well, I'm glad I could help you pull through. And also, my wife-to-be and muse, Lady Elizabeth Jane Walker, has sent one of the carrier pigeons with a missive. She's busy rearranging the bookshelves in my library and tells me that I won't say what she calls it, but let's call it a German Second World War history area is coming on nicely. She's put it next to the cookery section. This one's for you, Sweet Pea.
Radio 6 Music.
UN set for more talks on Libya. Foo Fighters end Adele's record chart stint, and Stoke sail through to their first ever FA Cup final.
6 Music.
BBC News at 9:30. I'm Catherine Cracknell. The International Development Secretary Andrew Mitchell's heading for talks on Libya at the UN tomorrow. There are concerns about civilians in Misrata, which is still under heavy bombardment from Colonel Gaddafi's forces. 6 civilians have been killed there today. There are calls from the Transport Secretary for a review of what businesses should be allowed under motorways after a 7-mile stretch of the M1 was closed for 36 hours because of a fire at a scrapyard. The motorway won't fully reopen for a few days. Tim Greens from the Road Users Alliance, he argues the entire UK road network is overloaded.
It's happily very rare, but what isn't rare is the daily, weekly congestion that occurs at the places we all know about. We know that if you go down to the West Country, you'll get stuck on the 303 going past Stonehenge, and yet we seem to be quite unable to do anything about it. So these jams we see building up here because of a fire are actually symptomatic of a wider problem which occurs every day.
The Foreign Office says a British man's been killed in Florida. He was reportedly injured in a shooting yesterday in Miami. Adele's record-breaking reign at the top of the charts is at an end after her album 21 was bumped into second place by Foo Fighters and their latest release, Wasting Light. Adele's still at number 3 though, with 19. Football at Manchester City will meet Stoke City in next month's FA Cup final. Stoke carried out a ruthless demolition of Bolton, winning their semi-final 5-0. The rout was started by man of the match Matthew Etherington, who scored the first of 3 goals in the first half.
Each and one of us has played unbelievably well today. It's a performance of our lives, and 5-0, fantastic. Look at what it means to the fans, and getting to the club's ever first FA Cup final is massive for this football club.
Meanwhile, Arsenal's title hopes are all but blown after they conceded a 102nd minute penalty in an extraordinary finish to their 1-1 draw against Liverpool at the Emirates. And a new record's been set for the London Marathon. The Kenyan runner Emmanuel Mutai crossed the line in 2 hours, 4 minutes and 40 seconds. That's 6 Music News.
This is
6 Music.
This is indeed 6 Music. My name's Andrew Weatherall, and I've been at the helm of the 6 Mix for the last hour and a half. We go into the last section by opening up the disco, and this is that Death in Vegas track I promised you earlier.
Music. The Six Mix.
You've been listening to the Six Mix on Six Music with me, Andrew Weatherall. And in the little disco section at the end, we kicked off with Enforced Peace by Death in Vegas, a limited edition 200 only white label, out very soon. There's an album out in September. That was followed by Way Savvy, the Gatto Fritto mix by Junior Seaton. And then into Marauder in Milan by Morris and Charles. And that's for Chris Soft Rocks and everyone at the Disco Deviant night in Brighton on Friday. And rattling away in the background is my remix of Cut Copy's Sun God. Thank you very, very much for listening. Thank you for all the messages of love, support and culinary endeavours. We obviously can't read them all out, but they are appreciated. Until the next time.